Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Hemingway Jones live fountain pen show. I feel like I haven't been live in forever, so it's an absolute joy for me to be here. Thank you very much for spending some time with me. It's always fun to do a live to talk about fountain pens in a very spontaneous way. I could say anything. You know me. I could go off at any second on a tangent, on a passionate rant. I could talk about pens. I could talk about inks, journals, and journaling. Any of the things that keep us inspired and focused and creative and connected and just doing what it is that we all love. So, very, very happy to be here. Very happy to see many of you. I see many of the normal members and frequent visitors to the channel are in the chat. We have the live chat during the taping of the show, and then the conversation continues because I leave these up. So there's a replay and you can speak in the comments as well. I see a lot of thumbs up going by. Thank you for feeding the YouTube algorithm. It keeps it happy. Keeps me happy too. I appreciate it. Kind of lets people know that we are a vibrant community with a lot going on. So I want to ask you all a question. Did you see the opening credits? We have new opening credits. I hope you enjoyed them. There's a very important reason why we have new opening credits, and it's not perhaps what you think. It's because I accidentally deleted the old opening credits, so I had to quickly make some new ones. Which I am actually very pleased about because I've learned a bit more about editing and I've had some better B-roll to work with. So I hope you enjoy those. Also think it's a little bit more representative of where the channel is now and where it's going and some of the interesting places we go. And that's why I always humbly ask that if you're watching, if you could please subscribe, because I'd love to have you on this journey with us to the various places we go. Okay, so we have a lot to speak about tonight. Quite a bit about some recent videos I put up and some of the comments about them, which I think were wonderful and worthy of addressing here in our live show. That was bothering me a little. The other thing I would like to talk about is a bit of what happened with the Drew interviews. A lot of interesting behind the scenes things I can reveal there, and some of the talk and comments that went into that as well makes for interesting conversation during this hour. Of course, the main topic are true confessions of a fountain pen YouTuber. So I'm going to just sort of tell you some of the things that go on that I see, that I am interested in, why, which directions the channel's going in, some of the brand attempts to kind of market with me that work and some that do not, and whatever else strikes our fancy as the hour progresses. Certainly would love to have you here as a subscriber or as a member. Membership helps to keep the lights on, and it's also a lot of fun. I've been putting a lot of blooper reels and things behind the scenes, so I hope you guys are catching that stuff too. Okay, let's get into some pen content. I don't want to keep prattling on without a bit of pen content. So I want to show you 3 pens I've been using lately. 3 pens. Look at these beauties. Huh? I should have sold these a bit better. I bet some of you can identify all 3, and I'll describe them if you're just listening and not watching. But the top pen is a black barrel pen with a silver and gold cap, and the silver cap has wavy lines. It looks a bit like a powerboat. What could that possibly be? The middle pen has a double-barreled sapphire barrel with a gold cap with a bit of a brushed effect, and it's a very large pen. It's actually quite larger than the other. But the third one, oh yes, this could be a mystery pen. Although as I turn it to the camera, those among you who are eagle-eyed are noticing a white dot at the top of the clip. The cap itself has stripes except where it connects with the barrel, and the barrel is fluted, and it is all very shiny chrome. What could this possibly be? I see people in the comments say, I only know the Edson. Yes, the Waterman Edson is the middle fountain pen. I'm looking to see if anyone in the comments has said anything about the top one. Come on, guys. You should be able to get the top one fairly easily. Oh, yes, Mike Everett. Well done, good sir. And a Quran. Bonus points for which model? Debbie says all Waterman. Sorry, Debbie. 2 out of 3 are Waterman. Todd Rasmussen says Sheaffer. Yes, but which, my friend? Sheaffer is the make. But what is the model? Waterman Paris is close. Very close. So this is the Waterman Reflections of Paris. And reflections, I mean, look at those reflections. Look at that. The cap right now is a mix of silver and gold, the way it's reflecting light beautifully. Let's try this one out. I've been using this one quite a bit. I have my poopy tray paper, as I am fond of calling it. Poopy tray. Poopy tree. But poopy tray is maybe apropos in some cases. I don't know. Actually, this Clairefontaine paper is awesome. Still have my Morgan Library sticker on here. So there you have it. Shane says legacy heritage. It is a legacy. Is that the full designation? I don't even know. I know it's a legacy. It's from around 2004 or so, maybe a little earlier. So this is the Quran. Inlaid nib. Before I uncap them, can you think of what all these pens share? Which characteristic do they all share? Beside that they're owned by me. This is a very fun pen to use. This is one of those medium nibs that's cut sort of straight-sided, if you will. So it gives you a bit of line variation just in using it. I hope I'm not too far away from the microphone. Didn't quite nail that cross stroke. So, anyone guess? Hooded nib? Sorry, Lisa, not a hooded nib. None of these are hooded nibs. Modest nibs. I like that Lycamin. Ooh, Fleet Admiral Blackbird. Got it. Yes, indeed. They are all inlaid nibs. The Quran, beautiful rounded inlaid nib. Gorgeous. Look at that. Gorgeous. And of course, the absolutely stunning Edson with its very strong inlaid nib. Oh boy, this is so fun. I could sell all my pens and just use this one. I mean, I couldn't, but I kind of could. Because there is little as perfect as that. This is pure class, in my opinion, and pure perfection. If Waterman brought this pen back and it was as good and made the same way, it would be game over. And I mean game over in the Aliens 2 sense. The game over, man! Game over! Waterman would be the best fountain pen company. This pen is awesome. And just a joy to write with. Pure joy. Imagine if they could put this out too for, say, for one thing, it would really reduce the value of the old ones like this one. But imagine if they were just as good and they could produce it for around $600. I would say don't buy anything else. Don't waste your money. Go with this. Even with a cartridge converter, it's that good. Now, here's another one. Another one. Guys, I don't show this pen on the channel very often. Oh, I see a lot of love for the Gravitas Sheaffer ink I'm using in the Edson. It's so saturated, right? So I don't show this pen on the channel very often. I think I probably will. Look at this. This is one of the most powerful inlaid nibs. The base, as it goes into the grip, makes an elongated diamond. And in the center of it is black, just like the grip. The nib itself is just gorgeously crafted. The body is chrome. It has a bit of a ridge where the cap goes on. And once again, the cap snaps. Listen, little snap action. Okay. By the way, no grinding noise like the Lamy. And I want to show you, Lamy does those crummy wire clasps for the cap. This uses a gasket, a raised uniform gasket. Elegant, perfect, integrated, beautiful. But you don't care about that at this moment. You want to know, Hemingway, how does it write? Well, let me tell you. I always forget how to spell Sheaffer. I believe there's not a C in Sheaffer. Oh, geez. This has been dusty for too long. This is glorious. Glorious. Wow. This is a medium nib. So much flow. So much drama. Lovely line variation. Just perfection. Writing perfection. Wow. So you can pick up one of these used. I see them from time to time for around $3.50. And I would say this is worth every penny. You do have a cartridge converter in here. There it is. Nice metal here. Everything's very well made. Nice noise. Nice finishing. Sheaffer was glorious. Even just before it bowed out. I don't know what they make now. I haven't held a modern Sheaffer. But until I see this nib style, I don't care what Sheaffer makes. To me, it's not a Sheaffer unless it looks like this. So, oh, Sheaffer's EA. Yeah, see, I always look it up whenever I do any content on Sheaffer. I always look it up because I know it's spelled kind of funky. So it's like that. If my chat is to be believed, it's like that. But the point is, no pun intended, that this is a brilliant pen. Look at that. Yeah, this is fountain pen writing at its finest. By the way, I don't know if anyone would catch this ink. This is Mont Blanc Midnight Blue. So, not the easiest to say, oh, that's what that is. It's not quite as striking as the Gravitas Sheaffer. But, wow, are you kidding me? Now that I've inked this up, and I only inked this up for this episode. These I've been carrying around. I've been carrying around in my Lockbee now for a few weeks, and they've been my go-to pen. I bought this for me. I'm about to record with this, and I may yet take it to Paris and record with it. It's named after Paris, and it came from there. It may as well go home. Be a homecoming. Edson I haven't spoken about on the channel in a few weeks, but it will return. You know I love to do lists. You know what I mean? I love lists. So there we have it. So Absolutely gorgeous pen. I cannot say enough about this. It has a certain... I don't think I'm wrong. I'm going to get myself out of the window for a second. I don't think I'm wrong by saying that this has a certain masculine energy to it. It looks like a dart or some kind of a spaceship or something. It's just very powerful. It's a bit on the girthy side. I wish I had my caliper. I'd measure it up for you, but it's across the room. But it is really an exceptional pen. Let's take a look at all the nibs together, shall we? Being very careful to keep them apart. You know, I don't quite have the dexterity I once did. I think you guys know I struggle with a neurological issue. Makes my hand shake. Makes it hard for me to put caps on and off. Makes it hard for me to write sometimes. I'm not trying to complain, but if you see me, that's why I have to struggle a bit. But you know what? What remains is yet strong. What remains will do. What remains will carry me through. I refuse to bow out regardless. So I will be here for many, many miles. I have an 8-year-old girl to see through to the end. But these pens are companions. They're companion pieces. You have a pen like the Waterman Edison, it's hard to put it down. It's hard to find something that matches it. These two actually complement each other very well, especially at the office. I really love how this one reflects light. It's very pretty. I am a sucker for a Quran. I still say, as expensive as this one was, this one was in the $3s. Whereas a regular Quran's $2 and change. Probably the best fountain pen deal out there. I cannot say enough. I think everyone should own a Quran. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do a video to that effect. And if you can get your hands on a vintage Sheaffer Legacy, I say go for it. It's brilliant. It's so fun, so gorgeous. I don't talk about this pen much because it's old and it's sort of forgotten. At some point, I'll figure out a narrative and I'll do a video on it. But not at the moment. Oh, hey, Kate Witch is here. How you doing, Kate? They are pretty pens, Kate says. Thank you, Kate. Always so positive. I love Kate. Such a nice person. Such a nice person. I watch him in Karen. I love to call it a Karen, too, because then it's like it wants to see the manager. I love the Karen. It's a beautiful pen. A Quran giveaway. Why not? Yeah, I could probably orchestrate something like that. I'll think of something. That would be fun. Okay, let's get on to another topic. I want to talk a little bit about some of the videos that went up and give a little bit of perspective on them. I did a video a few weeks back on the diaries of famous people, which was really the diaries of really talented people. And the idea was, what can you learn from other people's journals, the way they use their journals, and how it sort of incorporates into your own life. I was really proud of that video. It was done documentary style. I think it came out pretty well. It's certainly going to be one of those ones that I hold up as an example of my best work forever, because it has a lot of heart. It has a lot of insight. I think maybe the Anna Isnin piece could have been a little shorter. I always obsess over my editing and my writing, especially after the fact. But I think it flowed really well. I thought the bit on Frida Kahlo was really powerful and moving. And I just love her so much, and I love her art so much. And I actually have her diary of a facsimile, of course. And I just really, really love it. And I love that video. So if you haven't seen it, I would suggest that you go find it out. It's got a lot of heart. Culture and values. Great YouTube name. I love that diary video. Thank you. Thank you so much. That means a lot. I really does. I make them for you guys. And I'm really proud of many of my videos. All of my videos, really. The other video that came out was my most exquisite handwriting practice. That's a video that I also am very proud of, and I think you're going to see a lot more of those. They're a lot of fun for me to do. It's a really nice way for me to connect with all of you because I'm going to say that handwriting for me is roughly analogous to everything else in my life. I approach it as a means of personal expression. I'm very passionate about it. And through working on my handwriting, I'm also addressing my shortcomings as a person. And I know that sounds a little funny, but I mean it in a very real way. I think that all of us think that our handwriting is awful. And I think that there's probably some blame for that in some of the sort of community of people who think that there's one perfect way to write and any other way is rubbish. I do not belong to that community, though. This is a different one. It's the Hemingway Jones community. And here it's all about interesting expression, and I just try to find the good. Even if someone's handwriting looks like an EKG readout, there's something interesting and unique about it worth celebrating. Handwriting is unique to them. To say and dismiss someone's handwriting is like dismissing them as a person. I have no desire to do that. I don't criticize how you hold your pen. I know myself, I can't always hold a pen very well. Sometimes I have to hold it with a death grip. Other times I can be a little more subtle. I don't know what other people's situations are, and I am not the pen police. I am not the one telling you that your letter forms are wrong or that you're holding a pen incorrectly. To me, your writing, it's good enough. Especially in 2025 when no one's picking up a pen. If you are, you have my respect and admiration. And I'm here to inspire you to write more, not to reach a standard. There's no standard, just something you're happy with. So I've coined a phrase, you may have heard it. It's called handwriting dysmorphia. And it's the idea that we see our own handwriting as terrible. And we shouldn't. We should celebrate it. We should be proud of what we've done, what we're doing, and where we're going. And not shortchange any part of ourselves, least bit our writing. So I think there's different ways you can shock yourself into writing a little better. Better meaning a way that you feel better about it. But I would work on accepting it more than anything else. Just like you should accept yourself. Life is not easy. Acceptance of circumstance, outside influences that push you along when you're resentful and you want to go your own way. Life is tough and full of conflict, sadly, and striving. Handwriting shouldn't be. Handwriting should be fun and just an oasis away from the storm, from the tempest that surrounds us all. So you will not hear anything from me about it critically. But I do like to give you tools. A few weeks back, I gave you resources of some online places where I get examples of interesting handwriting. And the idea is not, for me, the idea is not to copy them. I don't want to write like they do. But I might find some inspiration. I might see a capital J I like and incorporate it into mine, adapt it to mine, or a way a certain letter links. I will be doing more connecting videos on how to connect words and sentences and all kinds of things. Probably do another cross-writing video very soon. That was super fun. So it should be very, very fun. Very fun. So I guess for me, handwriting is something that I enjoy obsessing about. Most things I do. I think you know that about me. I'm an obsessor. I obsess over fountain pens and journals and inks And I think I have my ink game under control. And I do like to obsess over my writing too. So anyway, lots of fun handwriting videos coming. A lot are in rotation now. So if you search handwriting on my channel, you'll find some fun inspiration. And it's just fun. Just enjoy it. Don't be hard on yourself. I had one person I'm sorry for being critical, but one very strange person. There's a strange person who occasionally reaches out and they just kind of have no affect. I don't know if you know people like that. Sort of like they ask you a question, you give them an answer, and then they like stab you in the eye. You know? They were very upset that I didn't include Anne Rice in my Diaries of Genius video. And for some reason, I decided to engage them like a human being, which was a mistake. I should have just ignored it. But I'm learning. I'm getting older. But there is a reason why I've never done Anne Frank on the channel. For one thing, there's a lot there with Anne Frank. And I feel like Anne Frank deserves her own video. Or certainly a serious, substantial consideration. Because with her, you know which pen she wrote with. You know her inner feelings. You know how she wrote her diary, why she wrote her diary. Her situation, so much, so powerful. But the biggest reason I've never done it is because I can't. I've tried. And as hard as I am on myself and as much as I think I'm a rock, I can't get through it on camera. It's too hard. It's too sad. And I think as a dad of a little girl, especially, I just can't do it. I maybe at some point I can. If you go back to my writers on fountain pens of famous writers, and you watch the segment on Sylvia Plath, I barely made it through that. You look at me, I can barely speak, and my eyes are like full of tears. For me to try to do Anne Frank would be very, very difficult. So it's coming one day, and it will be epic when it does, and documentary style. But I don't know. I might have to hire someone else to do it. I don't know. It's going to be very, very hard for me. Maybe I could do a little piece at a time. Okay, I want to recognize somebody lovely. Sean Brown with a $10 super chat. Thank you. Keeping the lights on. Loving all the historical context coming from this channel. Sean, thank you. I really do strive to make it interesting. I just want to keep it interesting for you guys. I want to give you something different, give you some different perspectives on things, and sort of continue to curate the channel. So thank you, Sean. I really appreciate it. Oh, Robin's a big Sylvia Plath fan. I don't know if you saw that, Robin, but I had a really tough time with it. And it was similar reasons. A little too personal for myself and a little too sad, especially since I really dove into Sylvia Plath around the time I was recording that, and I started to feel like I was getting to know her by reading her work, which was different than I had expected. I know I read some back in college, but it didn't stick with me, just kind of how personal and the insights that you get with it. It's very of a place and a time and of a person, and it's very affecting in that way. So anyway, I am getting off my narrative. So let me try to get back. So yes, we will be doing a lot of handwriting, and you'll see some more historic things. I will always do writers and literature and pens and film and all kinds of things, whichever inspiration I get at the time. Okay, so let's get to some fun things here. Let me talk a little bit about this week's video, and then I'll get into the true confessions of a fountain pen YouTuber. Why not? So this week is a video that was inspired in part by what I'm going to speak about tonight. And that is the kind of behind the scenes. Ben Walsh of Gravitas Pens is kind of a window to behind the scenes of the fountain pen world. He knows a lot about brands. He knows a lot about manufacturing and who does what and why and who's kind of fibbing about their manufacturing and whatnot. He's had some challenges himself, customer service challenges, delivery time challenges on orders and things. I decided to review a pen. Matter of fact, I have it here. This Gravitas pen, Vacfill, gorgeous pen. And I decided to review it in front of him because pen reviews can be boring. I'm sorry. They can. If you do the same thing all the time, I mean, I guess it's formulaic, and formulas are nice. Formulas bring comfort, but I get bored of my own formulas, so why not criticize a pen in front of the guy who designed it? I mean, you can't say I am not brave if I do that. And why not ask that gentleman, Ben, who I consider a personal friend now. We had a blast. We probably spent close to 2 hours filming. I believe it was a Saturday morning. And we just went at it. He's in a different time zone. He was in Dublin. I live in Massachusetts. So we had a fantastic conversation reviewing this pen. I thought I hit him with some hard questions. I hit him with some of the criticisms of his brand and his customer service and delivery time historically. He addressed them very well. I also was using the pen, asking questions about it while I did. And I think I get a few things wrong, and he corrects me, which is fun, because if it were all me, it wouldn't be as fun. Very interesting vac filler. You get to hear my review, see me write with it. I put some B-roll on top, and it's a conversation with me and Ben Walsh, who is the type of guy I would like to have at my back in a bar fight. He's just a great guy. I trust him, and I feel like he has my best interests in mind. So I think you'll like this video. It's coming out Thursday. It's kind of an interesting take on a fountain pen review. And I haven't done a lot of straight reviews, but it's a lot about Gravitas. It's a lot about where it's going. He has this pen called a Hummingbird that's exquisite. It's coming. I'd like to get my hands on one. I basically took that from him from a pen show. So I have to meet him at a pen show and steal more pens from Ben. He doesn't seem to mind. Very lovely guy. Okay. So here is another thing to speak about now that we're kind of talking a little, just you and me though. So we don't have to worry about anybody else hearing it. This is just you and me, no one else. So I thought it might be fun to talk about the whole Drew Brown interviews, which I hope you saw. I put one up last Tuesday as a premiere, so that you could chat through it, and it was long enough to chat. And I think I popped in I did. I had to think about it, but I did. I popped in for a few moments. So this was interesting because it's one of those rare times when something goes to press very quickly. I normally make a video and then it airs 2 months later. So right now, things I'm filming now will air in late May. So sometimes I'm not wearing the right clothes because they're from 2 months before. But that's just how these things shake out sometimes. But in this instance, Drew and I, that Saturday, so it would have been a week and a half ago, we spent 2 hours together, and I recorded it, a segment for me and a segment for him. We're supposed to be roughly about an hour each. I watched most of his. I didn't watch it all because it's weird watching yourself. But but let me get in. I'll get into that in a second. Let me get into the mechanics. So we spent 2 hours together. We recorded, and then I shared the footage with him. I took my half, and then he took his half. And then I asked him, well, mine kind of seems to go first. So when are you going to post yours? And I'll have mine ready. And he said, well, I'm going to put mine up on Wednesday. So I was like, whoa, okay. And, far be it from me to let him down. So I was like, okay, well, I can edit this pretty quickly. I added some B-roll and some extra things. Sometimes when we were talking about something, I put it on the screen just to clarify it so you guys could follow along pretty well. And I think it made it kind of fun because occasionally you get something else to look at. But that was very quick. So that's why I put it up Tuesday. I had planned to go live last Tuesday, but I don't know when else I would have posted that video. And then he was putting his up on Wednesday. So I put it up on Tuesday with the premiere. That's why it went up on Tuesday. So a little bit about the editing. So on the editing side, there was a couple times when it's just Drew in frame. And that was because I was like drinking or rubbing my eye. So when I record, I have two different feeds. There's one of all me, there's one of all the guest, and then there's actually one of us together. And the easiest thing is to use the one of us together because we're already in frame. But sadly, that one was out of sync where he would speak and the words would follow, and it only has one soundtrack on that one. So that didn't work. So I took each and I married them together, and he was in sync with his own soundtrack. Ecamm, what can you do? You guys know how Ecamm is. It's terrible, but it worked ultimately. So, but anytime I was drinking water, because I had a big bottle of water. I mean, I tried to hide it. There's some that made it in the cut. He did too. We were filming for 2 hours, and my voice usually goes out after the first hour. But so we did that, and there were some comments, and I thought I want to address some of them. One is a lot of people asked me, why didn't I ask him specifically about what happened at Goulet? Okay, so I'm always honest. It's just you and me. It's just us, so I can talk. You're not going to tell anyone. Why would you? Keep it to yourself. But the reason I didn't, there's a couple reasons why I didn't. One is, Drew has been on a lot of people's shows, none of which I've seen. But I've seen them. I've seen their thumbnails, but I haven't watched any of them. Because I wanted to come up with questions that were original, and I feel like if I had watched it elsewhere, I would have thought, oh, why? I wish I could ask that, but they already asked him that. And I don't know if he mentioned it on another show or not. Maybe he got into all that. But here's the thing. Drew is my friend, So I got to spend 2 hours with my friend who I don't get to see very much. We talk a lot on Instagram, and it would be bloody rude for me to bring something up that was really tough for him a few months before. And I am not that interested in that. I'm interested in his comeback, who he is now, who he's becoming, and all the fun things that he does, and who he is as a person, and which movies he watches, and those kind of things. So it would have been rude. And I'm a lot of things, guys. I know I'm a little eccentric. I know I'm a little nerdy. I am a lot of things, but I hope I at least am not rude. And it just didn't occur to really ask something that's his story. If he wanted to tell it, he would have told it. Maybe he has told it elsewhere. I don't know. But that's his story. Personally, if I had a story like that, I would tell it on my own channel. I wouldn't give it to someone else, Like if I had a cool thing, if I had beef with someone, or I should create beef. Maybe I'll start like a feud with Wasky Squirrel, because he's a lovely guy. And, well, nobody would believe that because, but it'd be funny, right? But like, say if I had beef with someone, I would tell the story on this channel because it's my channel. So yeah, it would have been rude. I'm not rude, so that's why I didn't bring it up. And it's his story to tell. But the bigger question a lot of you asked, and Wolf Kate Witt says it's no one's business. That's true too. And the other thing, Kate, is I'm not Mike Wallace. I think I asked some good questions, but I'm not here to put people on the spot. I did have one question for him I didn't ask. Actually, I had a lot of questions for him that I didn't ask, which I'll get into. But one I was going to ask him was, where were you on the night of March 17th, 2017? And he would have been like, what? Why? What? And I'd be like, so you deny it then. And I would just leave it like that. I was going to do that, but I didn't get to it. So I'm going to now finish two thoughts. One is, many comments asked, why didn't I ask him about pens? Which is, valid. I normally speak about pens. Why didn't I ask Drew about his favorite fountain pens? Well, I'm sure those other channels got into that. I didn't watch any of them, so I don't know, but I would imagine they did. I did have some fountain pen questions for him, though, but they were mostly centered around what do you do with it, not which ones are your favorites, so to speak. It was more like, how do you use them? And journaling questions and mental health questions, because it's very important to me, as you guys know. It's something that I hold very, very dear. So I had those questions. But what happened was they were pretty far down the list. And I used up my whole hour talking about the fun stuff we got into. And then when I saw I was running out of time, instead of going to the pen questions, I made a split-second decision, which I am still fine with. And I went with my 80s movie quotes game that I came up with, which was so much fun. So that's why we didn't get into those things. The funniest comment someone made, whoever you are, forgive me for not quoting you. I usually keep people anonymous, but it was great. Someone asked whether Drew is contractually obligated not to speak about fountain pens, which I just thought was so funny. Not true. He can. In fact, he is about to unleash the Farney's Pens channel, which he will helm. So you're going to get plenty of Drew fountain pen content very, very soon. His channel is his own thing, and I had a blast. Now, here's the big revelation about it, and I think this is true. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the chat what you think. If you've watched both, I hope I don't sound like a narcissist, so forgive me. But I feel like his was better. I feel like he asked better questions than I did. And I think mine just struck me at a time when I was really trying to make a connection and I was having fun. And my questions were very fun. And I think his questions were a little more interesting and insightful. I don't want to sound like a narcissist because I was the one answering them. And I couldn't watch it all because of that. I will. It keeps coming up in my queue, and I watch it in increments, like 20-minute increments. That's about as much of myself as I can take. And then I move on. But I really felt like he did a really great job. But let me know what you think. Which one do you think you enjoyed? Part 1 or part 2? My channel or Drew's? I thought he did a great job. Todd says, I love the fact that you are a Nunchak ninja. I am indeed. I'm not that great with them, but I do enjoy them. Mine are really heavy, so they're really good for working out. You get a really nice pump from swinging those around. But Drew is a friend of the channel, an absolutely lovely guy. Super happy to have him. Okay, let's plunge ahead. I have this written down. I'm going to get into this quickly. It's spring cleaning time, guys. So I know many of you are bibliophiles, as I am. And I would say that it's always lovely to have books. It's time for a spring clean of books. So there was an article in the New York Times. You guys know I love the New York Times, by a writer named Katie Okamoto in the New York Times about taking care of your books in library. And I thought I would just give you some highlights and then please go check it out. I'll try to put the link in the description to the article, but it's out there on the New York Times website. So check it out. Okay. So first off, she recommends dusting them. I dust my books about once a month. Usually on the days I work from home, I'll be speaking to somebody and I have that duster thingy with the weird fingers on it that catches dust, and it's on a little plastic holder, and then you swap them out. I use that. And I dust in the front, and I dust on the tops. So if you don't do that, though, dusts have like mites in them, and they have different things that can even stain your books, especially textured book covers. If they're dusty, it can rub in there, look terrible. So you want to at least once a year dust your books. I have to dust them more regularly because if these were dusty, you would see it, and that would be bad. You'd say that I am a slob, which I am not. But yes, and of course, store your books in a nice... Oh, Swifter. Thank you, Sean, for the super chat and for letting me know about Swiffer. So it's a Swiffer I use. Thank you. This room is one of the most stable temperature-wise in my house. Perfect for books, and my guitars are here, most of them. So keep that in mind, and keep them away from moisture, of course. And here's one I didn't know. Be careful about bookmarks and news clippings and things in the pages. They can actually stamp into your books or stain them or somehow damage them. So keep that in mind as well. Of course, keep the really valuable ones out of direct sunlight, which is why my first edition Hemingways are in the middle. It's reversed. There they are. They're right there. So they're out of the light each way. Here's one thing too. Keep your books upright. They're best stored upright. And if you need to pull a book out, it's better to push books back and pull it out like that. Don't pull it from the top. That's damaging. You know I can't leave it this way. It's going to bother me. So don't pull them by their spine. So interesting stuff in the New York Times. So check that out as I drive through some more stuff. So part of my confessions is that I am sort of rededicated, kind of re-inspired in a big way in this channel to just bring you guys some really interesting, intriguing, original videos with good information, entertaining, new perspectives, new discoveries. And one of the ideas behind it is, let's put my pens away. I just don't want to bore you with the same old things. And so I'm going to some interesting places like that glass nib fountain pen in my most exquisite handwriting practice video. That pen is so good. So good. It's like, it's a pen that you could clear the deck for. It just is so smooth, so interesting, so unique. And I love it. And I haven't seen a lot on them. So I think it's pretty great to share those sorts of things. Regular off-the-shelf Yovo nib devices, Schmidt nib devices, changes the dynamic, right? So if it has a nib with a predictable writing experience, then there has to be something else to it as an entry point for you to have a value proposition, especially if you get into $200 or more. Why would you buy one? If you could get a Yovo nib for $40, you get one for $200. Why would you do it if it's off the shelf? Unless there's something unique, something in the material, something in the theme, some kind of access point. I've said it to Drew, maybe you heard, that I said that I think it was doing a Benu pen, and I'm like, it has a Schmidt nib, so you know what it's like to write with that. You guys know. And I'll talk about it individually, but it's a very predictable writing experience. But speaking of unpredictable, my man Puppet Access with a $5 super chat. Thank you. A number of us are meeting up in your name at the Atlanta Pen Show. You should join us. I wish I could. That would be fun. I really wish I could. Atlanta's probably a bridge too far for me right now, but that would be fun. I love you guys. I'm sorry I'm going to miss it. And thanks for the super chat. I will catch up with you somewhere further down the road, though, for sure. I'm going to be at Atlas's sidewalk sale in August. So if anyone's near Chicago, please plan on that. And I'm planning on taking Chicago by storm. There's a lot of art I want to see. I'm going to be like Ferris. It's going to be Hemingway Jones's day off. In fact, that'll probably be the video that I make. Yes. Maybe I'll dance. Maybe I'll get everyone to sing Shake It Up Baby somewhere. Why not? I could do that. Why not? Anyway, so that'll be fun. I will be there. I will be in New York City soon. There's a painting I must see by Caspar David Friedrich. And there'll be a bunch of videos coming out of New York City. And then it looks like I'll be in Paris, quite possibly. Still going back and forth. Travel's no fun anymore. It's hard for me to envision going back out again. I feel like I need a year to recover from Italy. I'm getting old. It weighs on me. But possibly will be there. So we shall see. So, of course, the Commonwealth, too. Commonwealth Pen Show. All right. Thank you for the super chat, Puppet, my man. So, yeah, I need interesting things. A couple brands reached out. There was one where a pretty famous YouTuber had given this brand a fantastic video review. I looked at the pens. They were made out of wood. I don't like pens made out of wood. And this was one of those brands that's like, our pens retail for $1,800, but we're selling them to you for $300. And it had a steel nib. It's probably off the shelf. And I was like, I'm not doing that. You know, if it were interesting and different, maybe. But there has to be some kind of compelling narrative. Some other company reached out and they're like, oh, we're only working with a limited number of influencers. If anybody's like influencer, that instantly turns me off. I don't see myself as an influencer. I'm not trying to influence you to buy anything. If I'm trying to influence you to do anything, it's to accept yourself and your writing and maybe the pens you already have, to get a little sunshine on them, to journal so that you're happier and well balanced. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to buy anything to join this channel. You know, that's one thing different about Hemingway Jones and this kind of community of ours and sort of solar system, the gravitational force of this channel. It's not, the ultimate point isn't to sell pens. Occasionally, you know, and I know there's ones being linked by YouTube and stuff, but it's not like, I'm not a pen show. I'm not a pen shop. So, you know, there you go. Like a Man says, influencer, vapid narcissist. Well, I think out of those two things, I'm only one. So I'm not sure which. Actually, probably the vapid narcissist and not the influencer. So, you know my peculiar brand of narcissism. Like I feel like everything I do is brilliant. Y'all should love it, but then I hate it. I want to delete it. So that's how my head works. Chinese pens, China, you know, China makes some interesting pens, interesting designs. I don't like the copies. We've been through that. I don't need to bring that up again. But some of the other designs are interesting. I might grab some of those from time to time. China makes amazing things. It's not what a lot of people think it is. China can build anything. In many ways, they are the most advanced manufacturer in the world, bar none. So, some of the non-cloney, interesting original designs, I think I'd like to share. Okay. My Mont Blanc pen, my Scribbler, is coming in late April, May. According to them, they called me again with an update. So I think they've heard me complaining on this show, possibly. So who's to say? But pretty exciting whenever it comes. I'm getting a little tired of Mont Blanc special editions. I'm sorry to go after Mont Blanc. I don't know. It seems like every 2 weeks there's a new pen. Maybe some of them are gorgeous. Some of them are monstrosities. I was not a fan of the Gatsby pen. I felt like it was too large and too off balanced. But I reserve the right to change my mind. The Enzo Ferrari pen is pretty, but I think they need to calm down. Calm down with the special editions. You know, when everything's a special edition, everything's a limited edition, it's just not that special anymore. So if I could give you a little advice, Mont Blanc, can I give you some advice? Would you listen for a second? Seriously. And it's not like I'm an authority. I'm just a guy with pens. But let me share my perspective, okay? If everything's special, nothing's special. Get back to basics. Just make a solid 149 and 146 and have them in stock regularly. That's all we ask for. I don't care if some pen is like blue lacquer with diamonds on it. Nobody cares. Nobody wants that. I mean, maybe somebody does, but come on, get back to basics. Make nice, solid pens. And in fact, how about something a little more affordable? Why not? And you don't have to cheapen your brand with this, but, you know, something, let's go like a 140. Not a 149, it's a 140. It's $400. Exquisite. Gold nib, everything. Cartridge converter. Pretty straightforward pen. Beautiful. You know, you call it the Hemingway Jones. That's all. The 140. Why not? But get back to basics. That's how you do well in life. Back to basics. You know? But that's just my perspective, and I could be wrong. Anyway, what a show, guys. What a show. I had a blast. I should have had water. My voice is dying by the second, but I'm hanging in. So, this week's video is the shocking truth about Gravitas fountain pens. Super excited by it. Ben Walsh is a riot and a wealth of information. I think you'll enjoy it. One of my favorite fountain pen people. He's very honest in his replies, so I think you'll appreciate it. So check that out. And if you made it to this point in the video, you must subscribe. You have no choice. You like this. You like this content, so please follow along. I'd love to have you. And I appreciate all the members. Thank you guys. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for everything you do. You keep me inspired. You keep me writing. So great things coming up on the channel. We're going to have a blast. More videos are coming each week and live shows as well. So I can promise you, we will see each other. I promise you. Again, very, very soon, further up the road. So thank you all. Much love and take care. Good night.